All right, welcome to Political Voice on VOP TV. My name is Moses Humphrey. Now, mixed reactions have trailed the policy, the recommendations of the Policy Advisory Council set up by the President, which, among other things, has called for the declaration of a state of emergency in the revenue generation and national security. Now, the council, set up by the President, has also recommended the merger of 3 government agencies. Now, these agencies are the Federal Inland Revenue Service, that's the FIRS, the Nigerian Customs Service, the NTS, and the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. These 3 government agencies, there's a likelihood that they might be merged into one. Now, what does this portend for Nigeria? What does this portend for those working in these agencies, and also for the government's desire to generate revenue? I have joining me to do justice to this VOP analyst, Cyril Abaku. Good morning to you, Cyril.
Good morning, Moses.
Now, the question is this a good time to merge these agencies, FIRS, NIMASA, and NTS?
So I will begin by, thanks for having me today. I will begin by saying that it's a good time to cut down on the cost of governance. It's a good time to run a lean government. It's a good time to demonstrate financial prudence. It's a good time to have a stronger rein on the economy so that it can become more productive at lesser cost. But whether the first point of call should be the merger of NIMASA, Customs, and FIRS, whether the first thing to deal with is revenue generation, whether the first thing to do with because these are agencies that are more concerned about bringing in the money, not necessarily, I repeat, not necessarily blocking the bleeding or the leakages, which is a government-wide the leukemia of yes is government-wide. It's everywhere. But I think the president's advisors are tending to streamline these 3, which we understand are more like the nerve, are the center of how much government brings in. Because even if you block the leakages, okay, you want to be sure that you're also getting something and getting it well, getting something in. Because I think what you get in is perhaps more important than what you even lose if you're getting what you're to be getting in. So, I mean, for what it's worth. So, to that extent, we can understand where maybe perhaps they are coming from. So, NIMASA, the FIRS and Customs essentially perform
about the same thing.
The same thing. The oldest of them, of course, has to be Customs Service. We've had the unfortunate history in this country of having governments that just went on a creation spree. Every government had a way of splitting up agencies, ostensibly in trying to create jobs for the boys, as we like to say it in this part of the world, jobs for the boys. You have the National Film Corporation. There's another one called National Film and Video Censors Board. You have FIRS. You have Customs. You have if all of them, one way or the other, their core job, the core duty, is to simply go to government clients, go to government customers, or go to people that do in the government, collect money from government and put it in government coffers. Why do we need up to 3, 4, 5, 6 different organizations doing the same thing? I think that this responsibility can be unified by the workings of technology. Okay. But Nigeria has found a way to tell itself that technology is not for us, that is for other people, if only corruption will continue. Now, the point to be made is simple. If we want to undertake a merger of agencies, 2 things are bound to come into the conversation. The first being that this discussion to merge agencies is not new. I think
so
President Obasanjo, it's been ongoing a long time. In fact, it has a very long life. It is a shocker that its shelf life continues to expand. I mean, so I think it was under Goodluck Jonathan as president that we now finally summoned the courage to produce the Steve Oronsaye report on the merger or scrapping of agencies. If I'm not mistaken, that report told us how we could move from having almost 400,
agencies.
That's
a few numbers.
You know, at the risk of throwing words around, one could almost say it is criminal. Moses, to be very frank with you, at the risk of throwing words around, it's criminal. How do you go on creating agencies and agencies and agencies and agencies till you have hundreds of them? Yet service delivery is porous. Service delivery is porous. Seeking redress for when people do what is wrong is next to nothing, you know. And so you find at the end of the day, are we now living for the government, or is the government living for the people? That becomes the debate. After Oronsaye's report was released, we didn't hear much about what the government was going to do, because it takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of boldness to implement far-reaching changes in Nigeria. The president has appeared to be doing the smart thing. Now the second thing is, this is not President Tinubu's idea.
Okay.
What the president has smartly done is, and this is a master stroke in public in statecraft, there is, I think, what they call the Policy Advisory Council of the federal government. It is a proposal that they've raised. It is an idea they are tinkering with. It is a suggestion that they've brought up. Maybe they are flying the kite. If the public buys into it, then it may become the federal government now coming to parent that child, that baby. But if there's a backlash, the federal government says, well, it was not.
It's not ours. Well, let's also take into cognizance that the document being tendered now, carrying all of this, is recommending the passage of an emergency economic reform bill to grant the president special powers to drive the economic reform agenda. You know, so basically, the president and the presidency is being mentioned in the bill as a way of empowering. Now, you know, while you tinker with that, let's look at who bears the brunt really at the end of the day. All right, the people, or who? Let's break it down now.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to bring your thoughts forward. There is a bearing of the brunt in two phases. One, during the transition process.
Okay.
As we're seeing now with the subsidy removal imbroglio, we've not seen the end of it, and things are like this. Do you understand that as soon as government removed the subsidy, the federal government is not proposing any idea after removing subsidy? What they even said was that if there was going to be any conversation around minimum wage increase, that it will be, you know, the key word for me there was if there will be any. So there's no guarantee whatsoever that that is going to be a. Of course, Labour has said that this must happen. They must have that discussion, quite all right. But what we had them say was that if there will be any, that was what government said, that if there will be any, and that was the agreement that Labour and government signed. If there will be any, that's one. Number two is the fact that we hear about conversion of CNG to gas. After the discussion between Labour and government, it was marketers and people that were proposing to federal government. It was one of the marketers who are saying,
yes, of course.
Marketers were telling government that they are going to voluntarily support government. The government has not raised, is not taking the initiative. They're not on the front foot. They've got to keep quiet. So if we're managing subsidy, even subsidy removal, I believe subsidy ought to go, but not in the way it is being handled. So when you when you put this together, if we're suffering this much during the subsidy thing, I'm thinking that when we want to merge FIRS, customs, and NIMASA, there will also be a gestation. Is it gestation or a period of pain? Now, the president has to realize that FIRS, NIMASA, and customs are three very, very, and for the lack of a better way to describe it, this is even like a warning. It's like stepping on eggshells. Don't tell me that I guarantee it won't break. I won't believe in that miracle. It is after you've taken your walk, I should say that it didn't break. But don't tell me that, Cyril, I'm going to walk on these eggshells and believe me, it's not going to crack. Don't give me that. I won't say amen to that prayer. Even if I said amen to the prayer, I'm not sure I will stand back to watch and say, I'm expecting the miracle to happen. It won't happen. These are very, very sensitive. This is the raw nerve of the Nigerian state. You must be very careful what you do there. So I hope that we are not just tinkering with good ideas and throwing them up in the air. If we are serious and sincere about merging them, I think that the Policy Advisory Council is very close to government. I wish if this had come from some NGO, from SERAP or from what are the names of the CISLAC and so on, we would have said, okay, from there, the Policy Advisory Council could have picked it up and could have started talking about it. But now, a body of government as close as the PSC coming to the presidency is one broaching the idea to Nigerians. It means that the next place this idea should be taken from is most likely to be federal government. I won't be surprised if they begin to hold town hall meetings and say, okay, town halls to say, public hearing, do you think this is a good idea or not? Let us hear people come and speak to Moses. That's a way of getting public buy-in. Then the presidency will now transmit a bill to the National Assembly to say, we are seeking to merge these bodies together. Please approve. There will be the debates. There will be conversations around the public hearing. People will bring memos in. At the end of the day, the bill is passed. The president may not sign it into law. That may take a long process, depending on the intentionality of the current administration. But beyond that, the other clause that has to do with writing, giving the president special powers, I think I would like to see how the president performs, because this president has carried on the image of a welfarist, a progressive, a sort of leftist-oriented politician. But having gone to Aso Rock now, the body language I'm seeing does not.
It's different from what you knew.
Yes.
The
ideological direction. The ideological direction that the president had told for the better part of his political career is a bit out of sync with what I'm seeing him do now. So, but again, it may be too early in the day for me to judge. So, I think it'd be good we give him some time and see how he fares with, let's say, his first 100 days in office and maybe 1 year to 2. That is the judge, because if you gave him these powers now, who knows exactly what it is he wants to do with them? So is he really a social welfarist? Is he really a people-oriented leader, or is he, a thoroughgoing capitalist? I mean, and there's nothing wrong in being one of these, but let's know where he stands, so that when he's giving such powers, we can tell what we are going to get, so that we will know whether we really want to give to him or not. When Buhari came into office, they did the same thing. A president who arguably wasn't schooled in the ways of economics. I'm not sure if he had the learning to interpret stock market figures and so on. And this president, after coming into office, the first thing that happened was we ran into a depression because of wrong priorities. And then the next thing they said is forwarded the bill to the National Assembly to say that they should be given special powers over the economy. Thank God that the Senate where there was made up of Saraki and co, who stoutly rejected it. Because if Saraki and co had given President Buhari powers over the economy, do you know how far he could have gone with it? Nobody knows. But this president was having recessions up and down like it was easy to do it.
All right then. Let's hold our thoughts. In fact, I must say thank you very much. We have another issue that we have to address right now. That's The Lagos state government, story has it that the government has begun the demolition of shops at the Alaba International Market. The Lagos State Building Control Agency, last BCA, said many notices were sent to the occupants of the buildings as far back as 2016, but they kept harassing its officials. That's what they say. Now, head of the agency, Bola announced the planned demolition during an assessment visit to the market on Friday. He said that his visit was to issue final warnings and vacation notices to occupants of the buildings marked for demolition. The agency said the physically distressed building had been marked, inscription on different parts, and the vacation notices as far back as 2016. Now, but traders in the market believe that the government has other plans for the demolition. Demolition started over the weekend. Well, I have joining us one who is affected. He's a trader, a businessman. He's affected by the demolition. Daniel Eze. Good morning to you, Daniel. Well, we have Daniel Eze joining us virtually. I do believe. Well, Daniel, I would like for you to, unmute your audio so we can hear you clearly, as we are ready to, take your experience, let the people know what you have experienced so far. Good morning, once again, Daniel Eze. All right, I still cannot hear you. Well, I still cannot hear you. You might need to, well, I do hope that the technical team will help address that so we can get your audio quality sorted out. In the meantime, while we wait for that to be done, Cyril, what do you make of this demolition? The government said they had sent out notices as far back as 2016, but the traders were harassing its officials. One would wonder, is it possible for anybody to harass government? Because if you're harassing the officials of government, you're harassing the government. Is that possible? Can that even be done?
I'm personally surprised at what I'm seeing in Alaba market, but to understand some of these issues, you may need to look at the background and foreground of this, of where we are now. You know that the other day, 2 weeks ago, the Speaker of the Lagos House of Assembly said that the state government was going to now, that the House of Assembly was going to be making laws that will benefit indigenous of Lagos or the Yoruba in Lagos at the expense of non-natives. He used some very strong words. For example, he said that they were going to reverse every reversible. That's extremely, that's a very nativist, very nationalist way to speak. So, but he said what he said, and about a week later, we saw what happened at
So in essence, could that be what is playing out now?
Well,
as much as there was an outcry.
That's just one side of the matter. But if
there's
maybe,
a whole lot more.
Yeah.
All right. So let's listen to Daniel Eze now. Daniel, good morning to you once again. All right. Well, Daniel Eze. Okay. I don't know if he's on site. Well, I believe he's on site actually. He's on site at Alaba Market. Well, if you can hear me, Daniel Eze, please let's meet you. Let's meet you officially now. Hello, Daniel. All right. Well, unfortunately, we probably cannot take Daniel because there's an issue with his network there, and the network quality is being affected, so we cannot take him. But I get to hear him, when. Oh well, the demolition has commenced. The traders did say that they received the warnings as far back as 2016, But another grouse is the fact that the final notice came on Friday, and by Saturday, or was it Sunday, demolition has commenced. One would think, why not give like maybe 72 hours or thereabout for people to clear their goods?
No. Well, perhaps, I don't know, I mean, they do it that way. But for some of us, I think it's beyond assumption. It's more of suspicion. Because how is that for fast government, for smart government, for quick government, for government that says something and then does it immediately? We've not known government to be like that or to work like that. Now, Moses, you agree with me that how in the world do you serve an evacuation or demolition notice since 2016 and didn't do anything about it 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023? That's 7 solid years. Yes, did they have the right to do the demolition? Of course. Did they, was the house distressed? If it was distressed, why not? I mean, it's a danger to those who occupy it. But the question again is, if you mark a building as being distressed, how in the world is it that you waited for 7 solid years without demolishing the house? Does that not even speak to criminal negligence? This demolition is coming now a year after the elections, after hard-fought elections, after bitter elections, after divisive elections, after elections.
So it's easy for people to jump to the conclusion that it is a vindictive move.
No, look at what happened in Ajawa Estate. And please don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
The fact is that of a truth,
yes, of a truth. Government did say
yes,
say
that
the things that were here.
Sure. And then in Ajawa Estate, of course, it's true that some houses had been marked.
The ones close to the airport.
And
that was the reason.
And how to be demolished. We need to ask. See, this is Lagos of 2023. Don't get me wrong. Those buildings shouldn't have been there in the first place if they were not supposed to be there. Somebody turned a blind eye when they were being erected. Somebody came to check and gave them and gave the owners or occupants the right to stay there. Nobody says anything about that. The Alaba shop. See, if you issued a notice, I keep on since 2017, 16. What have you been doing all these years? What have you been doing now? It is so. I think this whole thing coming at this time just makes it look like it's convenient for government to do it now. A government that had that turned last month to a choir and was singing at major junctions in Lagos, saying "Forgive us." Could they have gone to demolish those buildings at that time? Could they have done that? So, and if you want to demolish buildings and say these buildings are not what, but you know that these are people's means of livelihood, was there any plan to resettle them? And I hope that we won't hear another story tomorrow.
Well,
that is even away from everything that we are seeing now.
There are speculations.
Because Nigerian government, there's nothing you cannot,
Well, there are also speculations, but we cannot hold on to those speculations because we are not hearing from the horse's mouth as it is. Speculations, but I'm just going to put it out there because it's still a speculation until we get confirmation. Speculation is that the portion of land or that area had been sold to an international organization or a country. But these are speculations. Well, to make it plain, there are speculations in some quarters that the Alaba market land or some parts of it has been sold to China. That's the speculation. Now, whether or not that is true, we are yet to find out, and we'll keep our eyes on it. Yes, there you have it, right? And one would understand why. But, if these speculations are true, should Nigerians be worried? All right? Let's conclude with that. Should Nigerians be worried if truly, I use the word again, if truly, China has been, if truly that land was sold to Chinese authorities.
So that is assuming without conceding that this was the case. It will be most unfortunate. It will be terribly regrettable. It will be disappointing. There's a reason why Lagos is one of the pillars on which Nigeria stands, because it is one state that brings all of us together, regardless of tribe or tongue. The NYSC apart, there are some people who would never have met somebody from maybe Kebbi or Jigawa or Yobe State or Kogi State, for example. But in Lagos, you meet and greet. You meet people from diverse ethnic nationalities in the country. Lagos is the famed land of opportunities. It is a commercial hub of Nigeria and of West Africa. So if we begin to, if this turns out to be true, I think wisdom should have told us that it were better to keep the land and keep its productivity in the hands of your own people than to sell it out. What is China going to bring? Is it more money for Lagos State government if it is true, or for Nigerians as we are? Because we shouldn't become slaves and colonized subjects in our own country and in our own land. But unfortunately, we've come to this pass. And if the truth if this were to come out to be true, then we are further sold as the narrative that Nigerians don't love Nigerians. That you can't be whatever you want to be, regardless of where you are and where you come from in Nigeria. That in the end, we may all be safer going back to our villages and enclaves, which again, will be like losing all the lessons we learned with the first coup, with the counter coup, with the war, with June 12. I think that the things that hold us together are more than the things that hold us apart. But if some people choose that we should go, that the things that hold us apart should not be stronger than the things that could hold us together, it will be very unfortunate. And we may have to come back to this same point in another 50 years. I want to believe it's not true. I want to believe that Lagos State government is merely following an administrative procedure, even if it appears that it is coming at a time of, circumstantial coincidence or accidents, and that they mean well in doing what they are doing, and that it's not targeted at either the Igbo or the traders there, and that eventually the matter will be resolved amicably, and that people who have lost shops will not lose their shops and lose everything, that will be resettled and compensated and so on. So I saw a video of a young man crying to the governor and saying, look, don't put us back on the streets. A lot of people they came to Lagos with nothing. Not even with chewing-stick or chewing-gum in their mouths. And yet today, from sleeping under the bridge to learning the trade, to becoming apprentices, to becoming one boy, they've gone on to be landowners. They've bought land, they've built, they've developed the state in a space of 10, 20 years. I want to be the Lagos government does not want that trend to end. That they are happy people coming into their land, doing business, prospering, and then going out. I thought that was why they have the cultural symbol of the three masquerades at the entry to Lagos. There is a land of prosperity. Come and prosper here. Whether you believe in traditional religion or not, as I do, I don't believe, but as a state, that's their cultural, they say, come on, this is the land of prosperity. So I'm wondering, why at this time, there are too many whys and wherefores given the timing of the action.
All right then, unfortunate indeed, but we do hope that those speculations are not true. That's the hope that we have. Yeah. All right, it's been an abridged version of the show today, and that's for some reasons, and we do apologize. Political Voice will make a return same time tomorrow. My name is Moses Humphrey. I must say a very big thank you to you for joining us, and we'd like for you to follow us on YouTube, follow the conversations that we have right here. It's Voice of the People TV up on YouTube, and at VOPTV Live on other social media channels. All right, join us again same time tomorrow. Bye for now.
Was the system hanged?